Hi friends, host Eric here, host Talking with Famous People, and I'm going to do the third video in my book series here. Here's a little background music for you. What is a cognitive function anyways? Cognition means too little. Cognition refers to the mental processes that each living, conscious human experiences 24 hours a day for the whole of their lives. You might say that cognition just means being human. Yeah. No, that was just a dot on my screen. Sorry. That was silly. Okay, you might say that... Yeah, that's just a dot on my screen there. Okay, you might say that cognition just means being human, but that wouldn't be a very useful way of understanding what goes on in our own heads. After all, not all the parts of being are the same for every human. Can we draw some distinctions? Yes, we can. Cognitive functions solve for vagueness. Cognitive functions are a way in which we draw distinctions about cognition. Functions allow us to break apart the whole of human experience into specific avenues of experience to better understand the self by looking at identities that the self doesn't understand. A cognitive function is not. It is not a physical feature, physical structure in the brain. It is not a power you have, nor an advocate for a decision, nor something that makes up a percentage of you, nor something that can be strong or weak. It is not an excuse for failure, although it can be effective or ineffective, or more or less practiced, or there are lots of other ways we can differentiate between people utilizing a function well and poorly, but it's not really strong or weak per se. Have to throw in some disclaimers there on that one. It is not an excuse for failure and not to be credited for success, though analysis of functions may explain why both occur. A cognitive function is not a value, nor a character or moral issue, though functions largely determine which values matter to a person. It is not an argument, nor a perspective, not a vector, not a statement, not an identity, not a strategy, not an emotion, nor a thought. Each of us habituates interacting with the world in some ways and not others. For example, a comedian type hanging out with a group of friends might spend most of his attention on making jokes that rip off things the others have said. In contrast, a highly sensitive person might spend his attention on the fact that the comedian is being rude or hurting feelings in general, while a den mother type might ignore the comedian to focus on the unrelated fact that one person is standing off to the side, excluded and looking sad. The comedian has it in him to be the fussy person or the nurturing person, but he's usually not. He's better at making jokes. So too for the others, respectively. TWFP taxonomy subsumes MBTI, socionics, Jung's basic cognitive function concept to provide the unification of all existing correct elements and the fulfillment of those elements still missing the status quo. That's its aspiration, anyway. Alright, whether it does or not is something for you to decide. 4 types of people. Any understanding of cognition is an understanding of how each of a very large population of distinct individuals attends to matters of it, because it goes with each, so it should be attends to matters as expressions of their self, again, because it's each. To divide all of attending into sets of similar manners of attention, then, is to divide the population into sets of people with similar habits of attention. Most broadly, cognition can be divided into 4 categories of attention: knowing, doing, interested judging, and disinterested judging. That's not true. I don't know. Did I make this at a weird time? What does it talk about? Oh, I see. Well, it's a bad word to use here with the judgers. It's not. It shouldn't be saying that these aren't the categories. Knowing, doing, judging, and interfacing are really the categories. But in this case, I'm going to differentiate them along a different line of attack. It's not inconsistent, but it's in my opinion, prioritizing the wrong frame a little bit. I'll explain as we go through it. Epistemologists, the knowers, all. Epistemologists know first. This means they reference sets of objects that are already established and fully defined, such that to use the object is to execute that which is already decided and not open to scrutiny. In other words, to be a knower is to begin by recapping either the truths implicit to the universe that one already understands, or the truths specific to the self that one has personally learned or experienced. Not by recapping, but by collapsing data into, by collapsing data via okay, so that's a better way to put it. Introverted intuition is an objective epistemology function, and it says here, introverted intuition is the cognitive function of objective fittedness, that which an NI user knows is objective insofar as it's a truth about systems external that one knows without learning it directly. NI knows when best to act in the moment as well, is one of its roles. Introverted sensing is the cognitive function of subjective finalizations. Although we know our memories imperfectly, we rely upon those things we do remember well, as though the specifics we recall were certain and unchanging. SI knows in the moment the state of the body and which familiar actions produce comfort and well-being. That's sort of its real-time manifestation. The thing is, we treat our memories as though they were certain. I know for a fact that earlier today, or she's still gone doing it, in fact, that Kimberly went someplace with, well, I know for a fact that Kimberly told me anyway that she had to go someplace with Lorraine, who's one of her clients, to help her fix some tech problem that she has. She's a super old lady. And I know that because I remember Kimberly telling me that. There's no chance that Kimberly's going to come home and be like, what? No, I never said that. I said I was going to lunch with my mom. It's like, there is a chance really that could happen, but it's very unlikely, you know? So we act as though, in fact, she's home right now. We act as though our memories are reliable when we remember things clearly, and behave as though they're knowledge, not something to be still deliberated about. We don't worry about whether my memory is actually correct or not. I just assume it is. Doers. Doers first take action when an individual encounters externalities as a default before recapping that which they know, before evaluating the current situation. The doer searches the environment for elements to take action upon. The doer types are likely to be called impulsive ADHD, irresponsible, all over the place, and so forth. Objective doers are extroverted intuitors. Extroverted intuition is a manner of attention that first takes abstract metaphysical action. In other words, NE users take the realities in front of them and use language to make, advocate, or critique meanings approximating aspects of the real-time experience of the NE user. Extroverted sensing is a manner of attention that first takes real-world causal action. In other words, while the NE user is talking through all the potentialities involved with the proposed course of action, the SE user has already begun to take the course. Extroverted sensing is best understood as following through on the course already decided, because that's its default. If SE is going to default to back, if there's nothing in the data stream that provokes opportunism, that aspect of SE, then it's going to default to following through on what it's already doing. Because every opportunity requires a doing part that is more than just instant, right? It's not like saying words which can explain, let's say we build a bridge. Okay, well, that's a pretty quick way to build a bridge. But actually building a bridge is a whole other matter. So following through on the course already decided means simply doing actions, basically, that aren't initiating new actions. All right, subjectivists. Subjectivists link first to that which is most accurate and least communicable, personal goals and feelings. Note that this makes subjectivists always more right than objectivists, but that the rightness doesn't generalize. In other words, because subjectivists link legitimacy to their own desired outcome, their frame is by default particularist. The right course here and now tells us nothing about comparability and how others ought to approach a given scenario. Subjectivists prefer that which aligns most closely with standards, not subject to the evaluation of others. That's what makes them subjective. TE users. System subjectivists understand how to attain goals with less effort or in less time, provided the attainment of those goals does not involve the management of other people's perceptions. This perspective means that one has a good grasp of sequence and order of operations. One understands well how to break time into smaller events in order to optimize the attainment of subjective goals. It's pretty straightforward. I don't really need to explain anything there. FI, people. So these are subjectivists about people. Interpersonal subjectivists know how individuals come to value experience other individual come to value other individual people in deeper and more nuanced ways over time. Of course, not all emotions are good. Regardless, the FI base function type makes up as direct a manifestation of good and bad as ever is manifested in human reality, namely the emotional experience of something. Objectivists, the publicans, publicans. I don't know why I put that there. All objectivists deal with reality mostly in objects. Of course, their base function provides an individual's nature, not her entirety. Notice how I do a little gender pronoun switch there just to be like PC or something. I think it's worth doing. I'm not opposed to all things PC. I want to make that clear because I have a little bit of an argument with some people about the Gillette thing. Basically, my point being is its fundamental message is good, but it's obviously doing a poor job of conveying it. Other people have disagreed strongly with that. And they point out elements of the ad that might be rendered into messages that are bad, but I don't think those are the explicit messages of it. And I think the implicit messages are sort of open to interpretation. Side note, not really relevant here. Objectivists pair their dominant legitimizing function, TI or FE, with an action function, and the display among TI FE DOMs varies immensely. The key shared element is a concern for status's turn-based frame of reference. That's for all TI and FE DOMs. TI is the most objective of the functions, as it particularly manages the interplay of objects with other objects, excluding all actual people, action, experience, and even time from much of its calculation. TI DOMs wish to conclude before taking action. They're system objectivists. People objectivists, FE DOMs understand the emotional states of other people as objects upon which they might work. The data stream experience that links directly to either FE or TE concerns is converted by FE into objects, which in turn prompt FE expressions, which impact upon the data stream. It's an interface function, so it has that handshakey quality to it. All right, let me see. What's the next thing? Slot placement, essence, work, reward, pink frequency. Okay, so that next page is probably appropriate for a different video than this one. Let's see what time we're at here, because the last one ran long and this one seems it's 12:34. That's good time on this. So I'm gonna play that little song that I've been playing here for a little background music as we go away. Hopefully these videos are well received and people like them. I'm gonna use Premiere. They're gonna make a bunch of these and schedule them every day, like at 6 p.m. I think, or probably 6 p.m. is good. I won't always be there to watch it when it premieres because, like tonight, for example, I'll have to leave it around then to go to work because I got more work tonight, which is good because it's a holiday and I get extra couple hours, which the money always helps. Anyway, somebody asked if I would type on. Yes, I do typing service. If you want, email me. It's my full name, Eric Strauss, backwards, SSUARTSCIRE @gmail.com. So just email me, and the price is $100. But if you find that too much to pay, if it's too hard for you to pay that or whatever, let me know, and I'll charge you the old price if you find that to be plausible, but the new price not plausible. The old price is $60. So if you're driving around in a Mercedes, pay me the $100. If you're not finding life on easy street right now, and you want to do it anyway, then it's $60. Okay, that's it for this video, and thanks for watching. Please, please, please let me whatever they say in that Smith song. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.